Perfect. I see a lot of people doing that. So kicking off then, I think you need to lower a bit as there is echo here. Managing scale through trust. And I will come back and go back and forth in these different topics. So first, I think we should talk about what is trust. What is actually, it's a kind of fluffy word, right? So we need to figure out what is it. And we just heard the definition of many organizations, and it's there in the European AI Act as well. I think for a lot of people, it's about creating confidence in the solutions. And what we discussed a lot during the last year and into this year as well, is that how do we become reliant on these solutions? How are they accurate enough? And we had a lot of talk about hallucinations in the beginning of the GenAI era. But it's actually much, much more than hallucination. It's actually a full wheel of things that you need to make sure that you have in control to create something which you have confidence in and build trust in. So first of all, I would like to have an AI that actually works. Really, it's proven that it works. We can have the right ability in the solution. Then we want to have a solution that works reliably. So it should be stable, it should be robust, different perspectives of reliable. Then we actually want an AI solution which also works in people's best interest. So we want it to be sustainable, we want it to be fair, we want to be, of course, cautious about privacy and data protection. And to complete this, we also want to have things from our AI which take the human aspects into consideration, right? We want humility, we want sensibility, we want explainability. It's a very important topic. So all these different perspectives is actually there when we say we want something which is trustworthy and we build a confidence AI. So backing out a little bit of this topic of what is the ethical and the trust definition of GenAI in my point of view, I want to move into how do we actually work and scale GenAI, because I guess a lot of organizations have done a few POCs. They have tried things out. They have either tried the solution ChatGPT or others, or actually build their own small projects. And what we see now is that the journey needs to continue, and this is basically from a very simplistic, holistic way of expressing how that journey should look like. So first you need to get things going. So basically these initial steps, understanding what is there, try it out, showcase the capabilities, evaluate it. Then as a next step, you need to get something done. Because it's very common in this innovation area like AI and other innovation areas that you continuously try new things and everyone is happy, you try new things, but it doesn't get into the real business, creating business value. So you need to pick one thing or two things and move it to get it done, and actually push it all the way through out in the business to create that business value. And then you embark on the journey to get more things done, and then of course get it bigger. And then the question is, what is getting bigger? What is the next step here? So getting bigger is so much which is not about technology. So there need to be some kind of process driving this, and I want to emphasize this, that it's an agile process. So it's not like we do this, we do that, then we take the next step. It's actually a wheel going around and around, and it starts somehow with ideation. So ideation of figuring out what is the right use case for us, what can bring the right value, what is the challenges, opportunities we have, which we can address with a new technology like GenAI. And then you need to implement it. You need to get it done. You need to get it eventually bigger. And then you need to manage what you create, and manage from a governance point of view, a business governance point of view, where you make sure that you measure with KPI the value we get and take the right strategic decision how to move forward on this particular use case, this particular domain and topic of using GenAI. And then the wheel will go on. New ideation, more implementation, more managed. And within this wheel, there are 3 other areas that we need to consider and make sure that we address in this whole journey. So first of all, we need a foundation, a platform, if you will. Because there will be many GenAI or even AI solutions. There will not be 5, there will not be 10. There will probably be 50 or 200 eventually over the years when you actually go further on your AI journey. So there need to be some common foundation, so you don't need to rebuild everything for every use case. Then, of course, you need to operate this foundation, these solutions, this kind of standard, close to standard IT operations. And then you need to push the implementation in the business, the people who actually should be using this. It starts with training and awareness, but it could be equally with an adoption here, because adoption is really what we are after. That's where the real value will be created. So all these 6 areas is there, and we need to address them in one, and start somewhere and move on. And that's really the next topic here, to get that agile way of thinking, the get it going, get it done, get it bigger kind of mindset. But we need to start somewhere on ideation. We need to start somewhere with training and awareness. So on these different themes, we all need to have the same kind of get it going, get it bigger mindset, and drive all these areas, because it will grow for years. It will grow, and we need to start. How will we then, because this is quite theoretical process, right? How we would do this? So my suggestion that we need to set some kind of organization, some kind of structure of how we drive these things. And a lot of organizations already have forums which is there, which drive strategic discussions, which drive innovation, which drive investment decisions. That's great. Use them. Put the GenAI topic on the agenda there if you already have them. If you don't have them, I really suggest that you should put a certain effort for a period of time on the GenAI theme. Maybe for a year or 2 years or 3 years, so you get this new topic into the traditional business, right? And the first thing that I believe should be in place is a center of enablement, a COE, which drive all the initiatives, so it doesn't become one project or one POC, because a project will have an end, the POC will have an end, and then the people are gone, all the learnings, all the experience you got are gone. So you need to have a COE that drives this going forward. And then you need to have something which governs it. Some kind of strategic forum, a board, probably that's the kind of forum which you already have, where you can put GenAI topic on the agenda. I also think a bit further down the line, when you have more than maybe 2-3 initiatives on GenAI, you need to put a certain focus on adoption, because the true business value comes from the adoption of the technology. And in the beginning, it could be driven training, awareness, and coaching in the actual projects. But when you have 5 projects or 20 projects, it will not work anymore. So you need to put a certain focus on a business adoption program, which really drives the business implementation of using this technology. So how do we then bridge in and go, okay, now we see that there is a lot of things to do, a lot of focus we need to have, and how we can organize ourselves to scale GenAI. And how does trust come into this picture? Well, trust is actually the overarching umbrella of everything. We can talk about nice processes, how we should drive it, but if we don't have trust as an overarching umbrella for what we do, there will be no adoption. And the adoption, as I have said, will be the thing that actually create the business value. Because people will not adopt what they don't trust, they don't feel confidence in. So we need to always get trust into this. Else we will get into this AI death valley, which we have been in many times before, where you start something and then we go down the death valley, and it takes years before you actually come up again and start the real journey. And to talk about trust then it's of course important to have the concept of what is the principles, what is trust, and you actually already mentioned them all, I believe. You have them here. It's transparency, robust, it's fair, it should be sustainable, it should be respectful. All these principles are basically agreed upon around the world. So the AI Act is built on these principles, but they were there, I think, at least 4 years before, and many other organizations throughout the world have agreed upon these ethical principles. So these should be in the forefront of everything we do. And then, of course, You need to understand the AI Act and all the depth in that, what type of role you have. If you are a provider, if you are a user or distributor, then you will have different obligations towards these ethical principles, depending on the risk level of your use case. And what we have done in our organization, so I'm working at Sogeti, we have created a framework for setting up a trustworthy AI. And this framework basically builds on the ethical principles, the 8 what you just saw. And it has 3 layers, so basically the layers in the circle. So the outer layer, the contextual layers, is what is legal, what is compliant, what is ethical. Probably you should think on your market, if you have consumers, clients, some third party, what would be ethical and right to do from external point of view, on top of the legal and compliance part. Next layer is organizational layer, which is of course about your own corporate values, your own ethical guideline that you have, which you need to add into this as a compact, because of course there is very good ethical principles, but you as an organization probably have more ethical considerations that you need to bring into the whole picture. And these 2 layers are basically driven from a business point of view. So again, going back to the middle organization, that you need to have some kind of governance forums with business representatives, people from security, HR, legal, making sure that you take the right consideration when it comes to these principles, ethical considerations, and of course being compliant to the law. And then in the center of it all, we have the operational layer, where we actually have the real solution. And here it could be a bit complicated because it's new technology, but trust me, for me and the company working with this technology, the solutions to safeguard the actual GenAI implementations, they are there. And they are there to safeguard the data, of course working with bias and making sure that the data is accurate, is there to work on the model, to do different scoring and guardrails on the model, so looking for toxicity, relevance, different type of scoring, making sure the model behaves as it should. And then there is different monitoring and checks that you need to do on a system level. And all this is already here, is ready to use, and we have it in a framework which we are repeatedly using for many client engagements. So we can start on this journey together, building the trust in AI. So with this framework, I just wanted to, now we have like 2.5 minutes left. So I have to do a little bit small of advertisement, but this framework, which is built on the GenAI principles, we also build it into accelerators. So in the beginning, I said it's important to have the 6 different areas. One of them are a foundation, a platform. And we actually build a generic GenAI platform, which we call the GenAI Amplifier Foundation. So it's a foundation for everyone that wants to use this, can come and work with Sogeti and build their GenAI solutions. So there is a common platform. There is also all these trusted AI frameworks, guardrails, monitoring, scoring, which should be there on the system model and data layer. And of course, then we need to jointly work on the more organizational things which comes on the context and legal and ethical. We also build an amplifier for our own services. And I think this is a good example of showing how GenAI can be used. So most of us have probably already used ChatGPT and other solutions and try some things out. But when you put your GenAI capabilities in the context of a very specific domain and sector, and you build a GenAI tool which is purposely built for a certain type of use case, for a certain type of knowledge and business, then you get tremendous much more value. We go from maybe 10x of productivity up to close to 100x productivity, because you basically can automate some very time-consuming task, and that is what we built in the GenAI amplifier. So I see that we need to round up, and I welcome you all to come into our booth. It's on the side there, like 20 meters away, and join us and discuss about the Trusted AI Framework, to discuss about the GenAI amplifier, both the foundation and the software and quality engineering solution, and also all these different use cases and client references, what others are doing around the world. So we have different use cases in Europe, of course. We have use cases in US, all from very simple knowledge mining using GenAI to super advanced with agents and the reasoning and actioning, which is now coming into the new GenAI evolution.